Welcome to our performance part of our program. I'm proud that we have on board Danny Arnold, the director of Plex. He's a top-notch person who has developed a training program for our sport. He works with the likes of Steven Lopez, the Lopez family, and our most successful athletes and coaches in our sport. In addition to that, he works with top basketball, football, and track athletes in his home of Houston, Texas.
Welcome to the Torch Performance Program. I am Danny Arnold, Director of Operations at Plex. At Plex, we work with the elite athletes in the country, including one in your field, Steve Lopez, with Coach Gene Lopez and his family. The program that I'm going to demonstrate today is the one I designed specifically for your sport. This program will work on your core, your power, your agility, and your stamina for your sport. One of the most often questions I receive from your sport is, when should I do these workouts? Actually, these workouts could be done before or after, and even in between your sessions. These exercises look basic, but they truly are not. They're very difficult to do. So if you have a person that is doing some of these things for the first time, I would definitely keep a good pace. Make sure you keep a good eye on that person to make sure that they're doing it properly. You don't have to use the tools that I use. You can use other cones, you can use other props, or even markers if you like. Also, you don't have to use a medicine ball. You can use a 5-pound or a 10-pound or even a 2-pound dumbbell or plate. We're going to color code all the exercise from the most difficult to the easiest drills. That would allow you, so once you finish your evaluation on your athlete, to better prescribe or better develop a workout for your athletes. Again, this will minimize injuries, and this will give you the best advantage to creating an athlete in much faster and rapid pace. One of the things that you're going to find in our written workouts is that all of our repetitions on all of our exercises are pretty high. Now, there's a reason for that. Obviously, we're working on the basic fundamentals to developing your best program ever. Now, we need to incorporate a lot of balance and a lot of flexibility. You won't be able to do that with low repetitions, because with low repetitions, you can cheat and finish the set without really emphasizing that balance factor and the conditioning factor. Now, obviously, you have a judgment call to make. There's going to be certain times when you're allowed to tell that athlete to either do 2 sets, 3 sets, or 4 sets. But I will tell you that past 4 sets, you need to find another exercise or develop something with a little bit more resistance. So remember, when choosing your exercises, use a variety of exercises, because this will also bring something else to the table, the forbidden word, fun. You add that into your program, it'll make it challenging, it'll make your athletes looking forward to doing these exercises. The first exercise we're going to work on today is the Arnold Shuffles. This is one of the most important exercises because we're going to implement the abdomen, the hips, the quads, the lower back, and even your balance. We start off by being shoulder width apart. Right now, we want to have our toes pointed forward. We're going to squat down, dispensing all your weight all over the feet, right? It's like this. Maintaining a good upper body. Your chest should be up. You should have your chin up. That means that you have good balance. Now, with all the weight on all your foot of your surface, we're going to shuffle to the side. Now, we're going to go as wide as we can, and most importantly, keeping the toe pointed forward. Just like that. As I'm doing this, I'm also not only warming up the quadriceps, but I'm getting a lot of flexibility in my hips. At the same time, again, maintaining the chest up, the chin is up, and I got good proper posture. And I'm going to do this repeatedly depending on the number that we set on our exercise. So I'll go one more time to the right. Now I'm going to work the other way. Obviously, when given the workout, you will have different numbers of repetitions you have to follow. But again, remember the keys. Keeping your toes pointed forward, good balance, good hip flexibility, chest up, and the chin up. And that concludes our first drill, but make sure you remember the cues. Keeping your toes pointed forward, having a large range of motion when you're stepping out. Also, keeping the weight distribution throughout the foot, not leaning forward, not leaning back, and keeping your chest up and your chin up. The second exercise we have today is the single leg squat. Like the Arnold Shuffles, it's going to work on our quad strength, it's going to work on our flexibility, but more importantly, it's going to work on our balance. It looks like an easy exercise, but believe me, it's not. One precaution with this, if someone has a knee injury, you might want to skip this exercise because you do have to have ample strength to do this exercise. What we'll do is we're going to start off with a mark. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 1 foot or 18-inch cone. It could be anything that is upright to give you a goal to reach. We're going to put all our weight on 1 foot, and again, we're going to distribute the weight throughout the foot, not forward, not backwards. And I'm going to raise this other leg. Preferably just cock it back rather than put it in front because it will off-balance you. Cocking it back will help you out also on the balance. So you're going to squat down real slow until you reach your goal of the cone. Now notice, I still have my chest up, and my chin is up, and then I come back up slowly. I'm not leaning over. I'm not just trying to reach out and not doing any work with my legs. The goal of this exercise is to get the hip flexibility, the quad strength, and the balance all isolated to just one leg. Now we're going to repeat this according to the program that we give you. So it's not just going to be 1 rep. I'll do a couple more to demonstrate. Go down slow, touch, come up. Go down slow, touch, come up. And then we alternate and use the other leg. So if you've seen the second exercise, the single leg squat, the keys to this exercise is to distribute your weight evenly throughout your feet. Just like I demonstrated earlier, I'll demonstrate again. And please notice that I'm keeping the chest up, the chin up, and I'm distributing the weight throughout my foot. Now, for best results, keep the cone about 18 inches away from your feet, and that way allow you the opportunity to keep your chest up and your chin up. Our third exercise brings a little explosion to our training. They're called vertical jumps, but we're going to do them from a wide stance. It looks pretty simple, but you must follow a couple of keys. What we're going to do is we're going to go a little wider than shoulder width. That will help put more groin and more hip flexibility into this exercise. What we're going to do is we're going to squat down till we get to about 90 degrees, but we're going to pause. From this pause position, then we're going to explode up. When we explode, we're going to maintain our width pretty wide, so when we land, we maintain the same width. I'll demonstrate one right now. The reason we're doing this is because we want to create more flexibility and strength inside the leg rather than just on the quadricep. So we've demonstrated our third exercise with the explosion, of course. Now, a couple of keys you must follow is that when you jump, to maintain that width, and also when you squat down, to pause before you jump. The reason we're doing that is because our goal is to recruit fast twitch muscles. Our fourth exercise are called hip switches. This is great because now we've worked on explosion. Now we're adding explosion and speed together. Similar to our other exercises, we're going to concentrate on quadriceps, hip flexibility, ankle flexibility, and balance, but now we're going to incorporate the speed. We're going to start by grabbing an object. It doesn't necessarily have to be a medicine ball. It could be a 5-pound plate, something not too heavy. We're going to maintain this in the front. I'm going to squat down. The same rules apply. I'm going to be distributing my weight evenly throughout my feet. Squat down again to the 90-degree angle, or at least we hope to the 90-degree angle. From this position, I'm going to switch my hips as fast as I possibly can and then maintain my posture and then do it again repeatedly. I'll demonstrate this right now. Now notice, I kept my same width, I kept good weight distribution on my feet, I kept my chest upright, my chin upright, and I maintained my object, Swiss ball or a 10-pound or a 5-pound plate in front of my body. What that does helps me gain flexibility in my hips. In doing our hip switches, do remember the keys that I mentioned earlier. You have to squat low, maintain good weight distribution throughout your feet, and make sure you do your switches as fast as possible. One of the worst things you can possibly do on this drill is to lean forward. Let me show you what not to do. When you're doing the drill, you're putting your weight forward, and then what's happening is creating you to train on lunging and keeping off balance. That's how you can prevent it, by distributing your weight evenly. Our fifth exercise is the low tapiocas. This is a great drill because we incorporate power, quick feet, speed, and now we're gonna get some flexibility worked out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna maintain the ball in front just like we did on the hip switches. And our goal is the same thing. We're trying to turn our hips all the way around. And this time, we're gonna move our feet to get ourselves around. Although we're moving our feet fast, we don't wanna turn our hips fast. Now, although that looks pretty easy, it's probably one of the hardest drills. You'll find this out if you stay low. One of the worst things to defeat this drill is to do this drill, and I'll demonstrate now, if you're very upright, like this. The reason that is because you're not going to incorporate your quad strength into this. So again, when doing this drill, squat low, the lower the better. Now start moving your feet quick and turn your hips slowly. The further you go, the better it is for your flexibility. Okay, that was our fifth exercise, the low tapiocas. Remember on this drill, you must stay low. And again, you must move your feet quick, but don't turn your hips fast. Our next drill brings us back to explosion, except this time we're going to incorporate some balance. They're called single leg explosive lunges. They're a little bit different than the traditional lunges because of two things. One, on a traditional lunge, you're going to squat down nice and slow, and you're going to come back and get your balance. Well, on this one, we're not going to do that. This one, we're not only going to squat down, but we're going to come right back up fast, and then we're going to try to maintain our balance with as little support as you need from that back leg to go right back again. Now, the second thing that is very different from the traditional, we're going to alternate where we land. In traditional, you would obviously land in the same spot. Well, on this one, we're going to do is alternate. You could use marks, or you can randomly choose where you want to land. The important thing is here, keep chest up and your chin up. Remember the keys. Don't rush the drill. Keep your chest upright, your chin, and alternate constantly. Don't create a pattern so then your body memorizes it and it becomes more efficient when doing the drill. The other thing is, if you have someone with a knee injury or knee problems, I would definitely not do this drill until they do the other drills and they do a good job on those. Our next drill is the rotating sumo squat. Now this is very similar to the Flex Master, but there is one advantage to it. You're creating movement, which means more blood flow going through the legs, which obviously is more advantage than static stretching. What we want to do also, we want to use something like a medicine ball or a 5-pound plate to help us keep our chest more upright. And we're going to go again back to the same position like we did before. Evenly distribute your weight throughout your feet. Squat down as low as possible, obviously not past 90 degrees, and keep the chest upright. Now this time, you don't necessarily have to turn your hips and maintain the ball or the weight in front of you. You just want to maintain it in front, again, to help you keep the chest upright. The goal is to create flexibility inside your hips. So I'm going to turn my foot as wide as I can, or as much as I can, at the same time creating weight distribution on both. And then I'm going to slowly bring the other one over. Again, chest is upright, chin is up, and this is helping me keep that up I'm gonna open up as wide as I can. Again, I still have weight on both feet, and then I'm gonna bring it back slowly. Now from this position, our goal is to stay low. This builds a tremendous amount of conditioning on the quad strength. At the same time, we're working flexibility. We're gonna open up again. So that was our rotating sumo squats. Remember our keys. Stay low. Go at least to 90 degrees. The other thing is, don't do this drill fast because you're working on more flexibility and conditioning. As always, in our other drills, use a guide. Use a medicine ball, a 5-pound, or a 10-pound plate. This will help you keep your chest upright. And it'll show right off if you're messing up by leaning forward when the ball drops. Our next drill is our upper body rotations. Now this is a little bit different than the ones we did before because now this time our lower body stays in the same spot, but we're going to rotate via the upper body. This is always best used if you have 2 partners, so then you can tag your guide, the medicine ball, the 10-pound plate or 5-pound plate, to them as a guidance. I'm going to demonstrate obviously without partners. You're going to squat down again, keep your chest upright. The only difference this time, you're going to have your arms out. Obviously, if you have shoulder problems, use lighter weight. If you want to work on the shoulders, use a heavier weight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate somewhat, fast, and I'm going to go as far as I can to try to reach the furthest point. That's where your partners come into play. The further they go, the harder it is. Do remember one thing. You're trying to work on this area and the hips. Do not put any pressure on the knees. So I'm going to squat down again. Again, distribute your weight evenly throughout your feet. As you rotate, it'll shift a little, and that's okay. But just make sure the pressure does not go on the knee. I'm going to rotate as far as I can to the side, shifting a little bit of weight and going right back the other way. Again, I'm rotating through my trunk, not through my knees. Obviously, you can see there's a little shifting of weight. That's okay, but you should not feel any pain on your knee. If you have partners, they can play with you where you have to reach higher or even lower sometimes. That makes it more fun. And actually, that makes it a whole lot harder. So remember in this drill, again, stay low, work on your balance, keep that chest upright, the chin up, and again, if you want to make it enjoyable, use your partners as targets. That'll make it more fun and more challenging. Our next drill is the medicine ball push-up. Now, similar to the regular push-up, we're going to have our hands placed shoulder width apart and our feet close together, except this time we're going to put the medicine ball underneath one of our hands. Go down just like you do in the push-ups and go down as low as you can, but obviously maintain good balance because of the medicine ball. So that was our medicine ball push-up. Remember a few keys. Make sure that the ball is very well balanced underneath your hand to prevent any type of injury. And also make sure you keep your feet together in the back and have your hands a little bit wider and shoulder width apart. Our next drill is quick hand push-ups. Now on this one, if you have a person that cannot do 25 push-ups consecutively without stopping, I wouldn't try this. Now, just like we do quick feet, we have to work our upper body that way too. So again, we're gonna get in a push-up position. The only difference is instead of being parallel, we're gonna offset the hands. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna exchange the hands. The first set, we'll do it kind of slow so you learn the pattern a little bit. As you feel more comfortable, we're going to speed up the process. Now, that speed can be determined by 1, a clock, where someone calls out the numbers, or 2, just by your own preference to see how fast you can go. Now, I will advise you, this drill puts a lot of strain on the shoulders, so if you have shoulder problems, I'd probably skip this drill and go to the regular push-ups. So that was our hand switching push-up. Remember, if you have wrist problems or shoulder problems, skip this one and go to the regular push-ups. And always concentrate on distributing your weight evenly while you're switching your hands. Our next drill is the towel pulls. This is very similar to seated rows or lat pull downs with a few variations. You're going to need a towel. It could be medium size or large towel, but preferably not a small towel because it could slip. And what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate the whole body rather than just the back muscles when we're using machines. Like I mentioned, in this drill, we're going to incorporate the whole body. You also need a partner to hold on and give you the resistance. If you can't have a partner, you might be able to use a pulley system or some type of cable rows. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squat down, I'm going to offset my feet and squat down as low as I can to put pressure on my quadriceps and my hips. At the same time, I'm always maintaining good posture with my upper body and my chin. Now, your partner is going to give in to my pulls. Right now, we're going to do them all straight pulls. Just give in. So right now, I'm working the back muscles. The great thing about this, not only am I working the back muscles, I'm also working on my balance, my stamina on my quadriceps, and even some flexibility in my hips. A great variation to this drill is to have your partner move around. Create this drill to be inconsistent rather than in a pattern. So this time, I'm going to start off in the usual, getting squat down low, getting in good posture position. But now this time, he's going to shuffle around and make it harder on me. So sometimes I'm pulling low, sometimes I'm pulling high, sometimes I'm pulling in the middle. And what that does, it works more body part. Again, I'm always pulling through the elbow. What that means is that I'm using my back muscles. So that was the towel pull drill. Now remember, pull through the elbow. Don't just pull with the hand. That will put too much emphasis on the shoulder. And then the other thing is maintain good balance. This is great because we need good balance when fighting, and this will condition your legs unbelievably. Now we're going to start our ab program. The first exercise we're doing is crunches. The only variation is we're going to use the medicine ball to add a little resistance to our program. I'm going to lay down just like if I was doing crunches. I'm going to raise the legs, 90-degree angle, have my lower back flat to the ground, and now I'm going to raise the medicine ball straight above me, not towards my feet, not towards the sides. I'm going straight above me as high as I can possibly go. When I get up there, I want to pause for half a second and then sink back down. And we're going to repeat that with the numbers that we were given in the workout. Again, we're trying to reach as high as we can go, and hopefully we try to pause at the top. Obviously this is a little bit hard, but that's what you want to do. If you rotate or shift a little bit, that's okay as well, as long as the main emphasis and the main pressure is in your abs. Continue this until you finish the desired number. Our next exercise for abs is the trunk twist with the medicine ball. Now, on this ones, you want to have your knees slightly bent, but you want to put very little pressure on your heels. The goal is to incorporate a good twist with the assistance of the ball. This will help you also lean back a little bit. Again, be as light as you can on those heels, don't put a lot of weight on it, and lean back, so then that way your muscles are already tight from the get-go. And we're going to rotate in a pretty good fast pace. The goal is to touch both sides. Don't cut yourself short, because then you're limiting your flexibility in your hips. Right here, side to side. Left and right count as one, and obviously follow the desired number. When doing the trunk twist, there's a couple keys. Make sure you look at the ball. The reason is, if you don't, you're going to maintain your hips without twisting, and defeats the purpose of the drill. And then the other thing is, make sure you're leaning back enough where it maintains the pressure on your abdomen and not necessarily your lower back or your upper legs. Our next ab exercise is the reach in betweens. Now, on this one, we can use the ball, or we can just use simply the weight of our own hands. We're going to lay almost flat. I'll use the ball this time. And then I'm going to reach in between my legs to try to touch my heels with the ball. And go back to the flat position without allowing your shoes to touch the ground. Again, you can do this with or without the ball. So that was the reach in betweens. Now there's a couple keys to that. To remember, not allow your heels to touch the ground in between your reps, and then try to maintain the head and the upper shoulders off the ground. That'll put all the pressure in the core. Our final ab exercise is the elbow crunches. Now, a couple keys to this. Again, put very little weight on your heels, but this time you're going to raise your upper body and your upper back off the ground using your elbows only. Put your elbows flat to the ground, and then again, raise the upper back off the ground using your elbows. Go to the top, pause, 1001, and then go down. You will immediately feel your abs, because when you're raising your lower back off the ground, it tightens the muscles. Again, maintain very little weight on those heels. Now, a couple variations to this exercise. You can do it with the legs raised. Just make sure you don't turn this into a swinging contest. When doing the elbow crunches, remember a couple of things. Put all the weight on your elbows and elevate your upper back and a little bit of your lower back off the ground. First, you're going to feel a little bit of pressure in your neck. That's just for until your body gets used to that. Now for a sneak preview of what's to come in our future programs.